Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica here with
the Flowing Dutchman.
And today we are going to be working on a kettlebell exercise, the two-hand kettlebell straight leg deadlift. This is a variation of the normal kettlebell deadlift. The normal kettlebell deadlift is done with a bent leg. For people who are martial artists, circus performers, or ballerinas, people can move towards the straight leg deadlift. This exercise is not for everybody, but everybody can do this exercise if you train up to it. We're going to demonstrate the bent leg version of the deadlift first, and we're going to introduce a minor change, locking out the leg. So let's set up for our two-leg deadlift first. Two-leg deadlift, he stands all the way up at the top. He tracks straight down, kettlebell touches the ground, stand all the way up at the top. The main thing he is doing is squeezing his glutes as hard as possible, and I want him to straighten his legs as much as possible at the top. Slight bend in the knees, track down, drive all the way up, squeeze the glutes, straight legs. Now we're going to go to one leg. He's going to move the kettlebell in front of one foot, shift his weight to one side, and he's going to track straight down with the kettlebell with a slightly bent leg for now. The slightly bent leg version is the one that most people tend to do. He stands all the way up. If he needs to, he can touch his other leg down, but if he can float it, that is the important part. He's working on his balance. Track down, straight down, slightly bent leg at the bottom, straighten it out, drive all the way up at the top, squeeze your glute as hard as possible. That's the main cue. Now, very, very small difference. We are going to lock out the base leg, and we will watch his quad in order to see that happen. He will hold the lockout as he goes all the way down and all the way up now. Perfectly straight leg, track down, 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 down. Hold the quad, now drive all the way up, squeeze the glute as hard as possible at the top, hold the quad, track all the way down, perfectly straight leg, focusing on the quad, drive all the way up at the top, squeeze the glute at the top. To set it down, put 2 feet back on the ground, bend the leg slightly, set it all the way down with good technique. This is a simple exercise, but it is not an easy exercise. If you do a sport that requires you to lock out, of which almost all the pretty sports do, then you need to work on lockout under load. So, ballerinas, lockout under load. That is literally all of ballet. Dancers lock out under load, martial artists lock out under load, circus performers lock out under load. If you're not doing those sports, then you might not need to do this. But full loaded lockout is important.
Yeah, you feel a lot of stretch on the glute and the hamstring, and it's really the key, I think, for performing this is trying to lengthen it and then actively retracting them as well again.
Yeah.
So keeping the hips tilted and at the same time like trying to shorten them as you come up. And
yes.
you can really feel it burn.
The main thing is focusing on that quad lockout in the front of the leg and then moving slow.
Yeah.
So we tend to run this in a progressive order. 2 legs first, then the bent leg, 1 leg floats, focusing on the balance. Make sure you're doing equally as well on both sides. And then the perfectly straight leg version. This one is one that I teach to people who are in performance-based industries, dancers, circus performers, stunt guys. For the most part, most people tend not to do it, but whatever, we do all the fun stuff here anyway. Always start with a light weight and work on your hamstring mobility before you do this. This is a loaded stretch. Most people will start with a light weight, probably sub 50% of your swinging weight, and over time you will build up to your kettlebell swing weight. The lockout is hard and it will require you to use a lighter weight than if you bend your leg.